was 15 years old that summer, and my family decided to spend our vacation at the Hilton Hotel in Orlando, Florida. It was one of those big resorts with pools, arcades, and tons of families around. We were there for 2 weeks, escaping the heat back home in Chicago. My parents let me roam around during the day while they relaxed by the pool or went to nearby theme parks. That's how I met Jake. He was staying in the hotel too, an 18-year-old guy from Texas, or at least that's what he told me. He seemed cool at first, tall, with messy brown hair and a constant smirk like he was always up to something. Jake was sketchy from the start. He was always causing trouble, like sneaking into the gym after hours or messing with the vending machines to get free snacks. One time, he convinced me to help him switch the signs on the men's and women's bathrooms just to see people's reactions. It was funny, but looking back, it was stupid. He had this wild energy, always talking about pranks and how boring life was without a little chaos. I didn't have many friends my age at the hotel, so I hung out with him. My parents met him once in the lobby and thought he was polite enough, but they warned me not to get into trouble. Everything changed on our fourth night there. It was around 2 a.m., and I was in my room scrolling on my phone, trying not to wake my parents in the next bed. My phone buzzed with a text from Jake. "Hey man, can't sleep. Let's go prank some doors. Knock and run, old school style. Meet me in the hall in 5. I hesitated for a second. It was late and the hotel was quiet, but the idea sounded fun. I was bored, and Jake made everything exciting. I slipped on my sneakers, grabbed my key card, and snuck out. The hallway lights were dim, and the carpet muffled our steps. Jake was waiting by the elevators, grinning like an idiot. "This floor's perfect," he said. "Mostly old people who sleep early." We started on the 3rd floor, knocking lightly on doors and then dashing around the corner to hide. The first few times we heard grumbles or doors opening, and we'd stifle our laughs. No one caught us. It felt harmless, like something kids do. After about 20 minutes, we had hit maybe 6 doors. Jake was getting bolder, knocking harder each time. "One more," he said, leading me toward the end of the hall. That's when things got weird. He took me to a side hallway that I hadn't noticed before. It was narrower, with a staff-only sign partially covered by a plant. The lights were flickering a bit, and it smelled musty, like old carpet that hadn't been cleaned in a while. "Why here?" I asked, but Jake just shushed me and kept going. At the end was a door marked maintenance, slightly ajar. Jake pushed it open a crack and peered in, then turned back with that same smirk. Before I could say anything, I saw him. An old man standing there in the dim light, just inside the doorway. He was tall and thin, wearing a faded gray jacket and pants that looked like a hotel staff uniform, but dirtier. His face was pale, with deep wrinkles and eyes that seemed too dark, like shadows. Behind me, I heard Jake's voice, but it wasn't a whisper anymore. He shouted from right behind me, "Dad, here he is, our today's meal. Catch him!" I froze for a split second. "What? Meal?" My heart pounded in my chest. I spun around and Jake was lunging at me, his face twisted into something mean, not playful at all. He was bigger than me, stronger from what he'd said about working out back home. I didn't think, I just reacted. As he tried to tackle me, I swung my fist hard and caught him right on the nose. There was a crunch and blood sprayed out. He yelped and stumbled back, clutching his face. I bolted. My legs felt like jelly, but I ran toward the open hallway, my sneakers slapping against the floor. Behind me, I heard Jake cursing and the old man shuffling after us. "Get him!" the old man growled, his voice raspy and low. I didn't look back. I hit the main hall and sprinted for the stairs, skipping the elevator because it felt too slow. Down 2 flights, my breath burning in my lungs. The hotel was dead quiet, no night staff, no guests wandering. I burst out the side door to the pool area, the humid Florida night air hitting me like a wall. The pool was lit with underwater lights, glowing blue in the dark. No one around. I didn't stop. I jumped right in, clothes and all, splashing into the deep end. The water was cold, shocking my system. I swam down to the bottom, about 8 feet deep, and huddled there, holding my breath. My lungs screamed, but I stayed under, peering up through the rippling surface. Bubbles escaped my nose. Then I saw him. The old man stepped out the door, scanning the pool deck. He moved slowly, like he was sniffing the air. "I know you're hiding here, boy," he called out, his voice echoing off the concrete. "I'll find you. You can't run forever. My vision blurred from the chlorine, but I held on, counting seconds. 30, 40, my chest was on fire. Suddenly I heard another voice, familiar, my dad's. "Excuse me, sir, have you seen my son? He's 15, about this tall, wearing a blue shirt." My dad must have woken up, noticed I was gone, and come looking. He was out there in his pajamas, phone flashlight on. The old man paused. "No, haven't seen anyone," he muttered, sounding annoyed. That's when I couldn't hold it anymore. I pushed off the bottom and surfaced, gasping for air. Water streamed down my face as I treaded water. "Dad!" I yelled, my voice hoarse. My dad spun around, eyes wide. "What the hell? Get out of there!" He rushed to the edge and helped pull me out, wrapping his arm around my shivering shoulders. I glanced back. The old man was backing away, fading into the shadows by the door. No, not fading like a ghost, but slipping away quick like he didn't want to be seen. By the time my dad looked, he was gone. We hurried back to our room, dripping water everywhere. My mom was up, worried sick. I told them everything. The pranks, Jake leading me to that hallway, the old man, the meal shout. It sounded crazy even to me. My parents exchanged looks. "Honey, are you sure they weren't just messing with you?" My mom said. "Kids play rough pranks sometimes." My dad nodded. "Probably some weird father-son duo trying to scare you. We'll report it to the front desk in the morning." But morning came, and when we asked about Jake and the old man, the staff checked the guest list. No, Jake from Texas. No old man matching that description on staff or as a guest. We stayed the rest of the vacation, but I didn't leave the room much after that. I blocked Jake's number. Maybe they left that night, or maybe it was all a setup to freak me out. It started about 6 months ago, right after my wife Laura and I moved into our new house in a quiet suburb outside Dallas. We were excited because the place had a private backyard with a swimming pool. It was our first real home after years in apartments, and we wanted to make it our sanctuary. The neighbors seemed normal at first, a family next door with 2 kids, a boy around 8 and a girl about 6. Their dad, Mike, worked construction, and their mom was a nurse on night shifts sometimes. We waved hello a few times, but that was it. The trouble began with the kids. Their backyard backed right up to ours, separated by a wooden fence about 6 feet high. At first, it was just a ball or two landing in our pool area. I'd hear a splash, go out, and toss it back over. No big deal. But then it got worse. Every day after school, they'd throw toys over on purpose. Frisbees, action figures, even a plastic dinosaur. It wasn't accidental. I could hear them giggling and saying, "Throw it higher." Our pool filter started clogging with debris, and Laura became annoyed because she liked to swim laps in peace. The doorbell ringing started next. They'd come to our front door, pressing the button over and over like it was a game, non-stop until one of us answered. The boy would say, "Our toy fell over. Can we get it?" We tried being nice at first. I'd let them in through the side gate. They'd grab their stuff and leave. But it happened so often, sometimes 5 times a day, that it felt invasive. Our pool area was private. We had lounge chairs, plants, and even a little bar set up. We didn't want strangers trampling through. One weekend, Laura and I talked about it. "This has to stop," she said. "It's our property." So the next time they rang, I opened the door and said firmly, "Look, kids, you can't keep throwing things over. And no, you can't come in anymore. I'll toss your toys back when I see them." The girl pouted, and the boy looked mad, but they left. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. The throwing got more frequent, like they were testing us. Toys piled up in our yard, a Nerf gun, a Barbie doll, even a remote control car that buzzed around until the battery died. They'd ring the doorbell anyway, even though I said no. Once, the boy rang for a solid minute straight. I ignored it, but Laura got creeped out. "What if they climb the fence?" she asked. I checked our Ring doorbell camera later. Sure enough, the kids were there, whispering and laughing before running off. Things escalated when Mike got involved. A few days after I stopped letting the kids in, he showed up at our door in the evening. He was a big guy, maybe 6'3", with tattoos on his arms from his construction days. "Hey man," he said, not smiling. "My kids say you're keeping their toys. That's not cool." I explained politely that they were throwing them on purpose, and I was tossing them back. He stared at me hard. "Just let them get their stuff, it's no big deal." I held my ground. "Sorry, but it's our property. Tell them to stop throwing." He muttered something under his breath and walked away. That night, more toys came flying over, harder than before. One hit our sliding glass door with a crack. Laura and I installed extra lights in the backyard and made sure the gates were locked. I was traveling for work a lot. I'm a sales representative for a tech company, so Laura was home alone some nights. She started double-checking the doors before bed. "I don't like that guy," she said. "He gives me bad vibes." Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Tuesday in July, hot and humid. I was in a hotel in Austin for a conference, about 2 hours away. Laura texted me goodnight around 11 p.m., saying she was watching Netflix and heading to bed soon. I fell asleep early. My phone rang at 2:17 a.m. It was Laura, hissing frantically. "Someone's at the door. They're banging hard." My heart dropped. I sat up, grabbing my laptop to check the Ring app. Lock yourself in the bedroom and call 911 if it gets worse. Through the app, I saw Mike on our porch, illuminated by the motion light. He was pounding on the door with his fist, so loud it echoed. "Open up," he yelled. "I know you're in there. Give me my kids' toys." Laura was terrified. She said he sounded drunk or angry. Then he started kicking the door. The frame shook on the camera feed. "He's trying to break in," she said. I called the police from my hotel room, giving them our address and describing what I saw live on Ring. My wife's alone and the neighbors attacking the door. "Please hurry." The dispatcher said units were on the way. Back on the phone with Laura, I heard glass shatter. "Oh God, the kitchen window," she cried. Mike had punched through it. I saw it on the backyard camera. Shards fell inside, and he was reaching in, trying to unlock the latch. Laura screamed and ran upstairs, barricading the bedroom door with a chair. Police sirens wailed in the distance on the Ring audio. Mike froze, then backed off the porch, but it was too late. 2 cop cars pulled up, lights flashing. Officers jumped out, guns drawn. "Hands up, get on the ground." Mike raised his hands but argued. "This is bullshit. They stole from my kids. They cuffed him right there on our lawn." Laura peeked out the window, still on the phone with me. One officer came inside to check on her, and she showed them the broken window. Blood on the glass. Mike had cut his hand punching it. As they led him to the squad car, Mike turned and looked right at Laura through the open door. The Ring caught it clear as day. "I'll kill you one day, bitch." Even in handcuffs, with police holding him, he said it calmly, like a promise. The officers heard it too and noted it as a threat. I drove home immediately, arriving by dawn. Laura was shaken, hugging me tight. The police arrested Mike for attempted burglary, vandalism, and making terroristic threats. He spent the night in jail, and we got a restraining order. His wife came over the next day, apologizing profusely, saying he had anger issues from stress at work. The kids stopped throwing toys, and the family kept to themselves. But the fear lingered. We fixed the window with reinforced glass and added more cameras. Laura jumps at every night noise now. I replay that Ring footage sometimes, hearing his voice. "I'll kill you one day." He's out on bail, living next door. What if he means it? We think about moving, but houses are expensive. For now, we lock up tight and hope it's over. But in quiet moments, I wonder if one night he'll try again. It was July 2017 in Austin, Texas. I remember because it was one of those sticky summer nights where the heat just wouldn't let go, even after the sun went down. My name's Emily, and I'd been hitting the community pool at Zilker Park pretty regularly that month. Work had me stressed, office job downtown, endless emails, and swimming was my way to unwind. That evening I got there late, around 7:30 p.m., figuring I'd have the place to myself. The pool was almost empty, just like I liked it. A couple of older guys were packing up their towels, and some kid was splashing in the shallow end with his mom. The lifeguard, this college kid named Jake, waved goodbye as he headed out early. "Lock up when you're done, folks," he called. Typical for a place like this, budget cuts meant no one stuck around past sunset. I didn't mind. The water was cool against the humid air, smelling sharp of chlorine, and the cicadas were buzzing in the trees like background noise. I slipped into the deep end, adjusting my goggles. Freestyle laps were my routine, slow and steady, letting my mind drift. Work worries faded with each stroke. The sun was dipping low, turning the sky orange and stretching shadows across the deck. The chain-link fence around the pool rattled a bit in the breeze, but I tuned it out. This was my time. After about 10 laps, I paused at the edge to catch my breath. The other swimmers were gone now. Just me and the quiet lapping of water. I wiped water from my eyes and glanced around. The parking lot beyond the fence looked empty. My beat-up Honda, the only car left. Good, I thought. Peaceful. But then I felt it, a prickle on the back of my neck, like someone was watching. You know that feeling? I scanned the tree line outside the fence, maybe 20 feet away. Nothing but shadows from the oaks, probably just paranoia from too many late-night podcasts. I shook it off and pushed back into the water. A few more laps and I stopped again. This time, I heard something. A faint creak like the gate opening. I turned, treading water. The gate was ajar, but no one was there. Wind, maybe? I called out, "Hello?" My voice echoed off the tiled walls, sounding small. No answer. The cicadas kept humming. I swam toward the shallow end, keeping my eyes on the deck. That's when I saw him. A shape stepping out from behind the changing rooms. Tall guy, broad shoulders, wearing a hooded jacket even though it was like 85 degrees out. His face was hidden in the hood's shadow. He wasn't moving like someone who belonged there, just standing, hands in his pockets, staring right at me. My stomach tightened. Who wears a jacket in this heat, I thought. Maybe a jogger? But no, his posture was off. Too still, too focused. I swam backward a bit, pretending to adjust my stroke, but my heart was picking up. "Pool's closing," I said, trying to sound casual. He didn't move, didn't say a word. He started walking then, slowly along the edge toward the deep end. Boots on concrete. Not sneakers, boots, heavy ones. And something in his hand, a flashlight. It swung loose like he was ready to use it for something else. I kicked harder, aiming for the ladder. The water felt thicker now, pulling at me. Why wasn't he leaving? My mind raced. I'd seen news stories about stuff like this. Creeps at public places after hours. Austin's safe, mostly, but parks at night? Not always. I reached the ladder and hauled myself out, water dripping everywhere, feet cold on the deck. I grabbed my towel quickly, wrapping it around me, and headed for the gate. Fast walk, not run. Don't show fear. He matched my pace, walking parallel on the other side of the pool. That flashlight clicked on, bright beam right in my eyes. I flinched, blinded for a second. "What the hell?" I muttered under my breath. The light went off and he was closer now, crouching at the edge like he was measuring the distance to jump in. Panic hit hard. I bolted for the gate, bare feet slapping wet on the concrete. Behind me his steps sped up, and then a sound that froze me inside, a low chuckle. Gravelly like he'd been waiting for this. I yanked the gate open, metal clanging loudly, and sprinted to my car. Keys. Where were my keys? In my bag by the lounge chair. Shit. No, I'd left them in the car, unlocked. Stupid habit. I dove in, locked the doors, engine roared to life. Tires squealed as I peeled out. In the rear view, he was at the gate, just standing there, flashlight dangling. Not chasing. Watching. I drove straight home, hands shaking on the wheel. Called the cops from my apartment, but what could I say? Some guy creeped me out at the pool. They took a report, said they'd check it out. Never heard back. That was over 2 years ago now. I stopped swimming there.